Happy Thursday, everybody. I pray all is well. I would like to welcome the KLPWC Kingdom Radio audience to another edition of Why I Go to Church. My name is Michael Gibson, and every Thursday I've been consistent talking about why I go to church, and I pray that you all enjoy today as well. You know, every day that I wake up, I'm just grateful to God for allowing me to see that day, for allowing me to be able to, just bask in His presence, bask in His glory. And today I wanted to call, let me see here, I don't even know if I got a title up here. Well, I had a title up here, but this Facebook is special. But hold on. So let me put my title up here again. Why I go. Actually, I'm going to put it in later. This is why I go to church. Again, Facebook has made some changes, so I got to go back and relabel my broadcast. But anyway, I don't really know why it's doing what it's doing. So why I go to church. So what am I talking about right now? So I'm calling this to respect all. And that's what I'm calling this today. The reason why I go to church is to respect all. As many of you are aware, there's a lot of things going on in our country, and you literally have to be on a rock not to know that there are many different things going on in the country. But inside of every problem, there was always an opportunity for a solution. There was always an opportunity for change. There's always an opportunity for progress. So I'm hopeful to God. And I'm beyond hopeful. I know that progress and change will happen. I know that God will do what He's always done, and that is come through for His people. For we're all are God's people, some by bloodline, some by faith. So it don't matter if you're born of His bloodline. It doesn't matter if you're His people by faith. I just know that we are all God's children. Those that believe in their heart, has confessed with their mouth, and accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, then we're all part of God's family. But one of the reasons why I go to church is just to respect all. I thought it was very important to talk about this because I see a lack of respect. I see a lack of respect going on, and I need everyone to understand what do I mean by a lack of respect. So I'm going to give you a definition of what the word respect means. Respect is a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something, excited by their abilities. So you have a deep admiration when you respect someone, their abilities, or what they have. You just have a respect for them. But then there's another word that I would like to kind of go over, and it's called disingenuous. Disingenuous, that's not candid or sincere, typically by pretending that one knows less. That's what disingenuous means. It means not candid or sincere, or typically by pretending that one knows less. You may be asking, well, Michael, I don't know what you're trying to get at. Well, what I'm trying to get at is that I've read this book over and over again. And I'm not going to say I've read it to cover, but I've read enough of the book to gain some understanding. I pray to God to get further clarity and to get more understanding. So I'm going to go through some scriptures. Then after I go through these scriptures, I would like to give an example of what I mean by respect and what I mean by disingenuous, just to kind of tie the two things together so that we can go full circle in the time that we have this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some scriptures. And the first scripture that I'm going to turn to is Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. I'm turning in my paper Bible, so give me a second to get there. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. verse 27. So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God created he him, male and female. He created them. So just to reiterate, the first word that I gave you was respect. Respect. So verse 27 clearly states, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Now I want to jump back a verse. I want to jump back a couple verses. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse number 25. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. God made a distinction between the beasts that he made and man that he made. He made a distinction. Now, in the Bible, God will reference some of the Gentiles at times as beasts. He will represent them as animals, just to say that they're not the same, that they're not on the same playing field. That is in the scriptures. That is active and accurately depicted. But what you must understand, that God made us distinguish between the beast that he made and the man that he made. So man and beast are not the same in God's creation. They're not the same. If they were the same, he would have said it in his word. But in his word, he clearly put a demarcation. He put a demarcation in between what he thought was beast in verse 25, and when he declared to be man in verse 26 through verse 27. So I wanted to point that out. The respect between the two species. He made two different species. And if you go through the verse at the previous verses, you will see that God made a separation between everything that he made. And he said the beasts produced after their kind. He said that the fowls produced after their kind. And he said that man had a right to do certain things after their kind. So man and animals are two different things. Man is the only thing that actually is created in the image and likeness of God. Because man is created in the image and likeness of God, I will respect man. So every time you take a life of a man, you're disrespecting the image and likeness of God, because in his word he says that thou shalt not kill. And this goes for anybody that is killing. I don't care what age that you're killing at. The word that I believe in says that thou shalt not kill. So therefore, I believe I'm obligated to speak up when life is taken. I believe I'm obligated. Let's go to Romans 2 and 11. Let's go to Romans 2 and 11. And I know this is not a rah-rah. I'm not in a rah-rah mood. So I'm going to just go through this word and give you what I got to get off of my spirit. And hopefully you'll appreciate what I got to give you. And hopefully you'll hear what God has to give you. Because honestly, I'm just speaking what was laid in my heart today. Let's go to Romans 2 and 11. And then after I get through some of these scriptures, I'm going to tie it back in. Now, in this new Facebook, I see that they said that there's 2 people live. I have no idea who's watching me, who's not watching me, because I'm not seeing any of that right now. But thank you for whoever is tuned in. If you write a comment, I may see it. Romans 2 and 11. It says, for there is no respect of persons with God. No respect of persons with God. That means God doesn't treat people differently when it comes to, if you accept his sonship, if you accept his lordship, he's not going to treat you differently. So we need to understand that and comprehend that there is no respect of person in God. And that would actually make good sense, because as I read to you in Genesis, I read to you that God created man in his image and likeness. So if God created man in his image and his likeness, for him to disrespect himself, because you are of him. So for each of us to keep disrespecting others, there truly is a disconnect. And I believe that sin creates the disconnect. Sin creates the disconnect. And why do I say I believe that sin creates the disconnect? Because before sin entered in the garden, Adam communicated with his God. And he was clearly not dressed. He wasn't dressed. When I say dressed, I mean physically he had no clothes on. He had no clothes on, and him and his wife communed every day, and there was not any issue. There was not any shame of the body parts. There was not any hiding anything between God and man. They were able to talk. They were able to communicate. And last week I talked about how the naming of the animals. So what I'm trying to tell you is that God made beasts, and he said that they were one entity, and God made man, and he said that they were another entity, and he gave man the instruction. He left the instruction with man. And when sin entered into the garden, that's when the lines of communication begin to break down, and that's when man began to see the differences between himself and really who God was. Even though man was made with a consciousness of who God is, we were made with that consciousness. So we know that there was something greater than us, whether we want to admit it, whether we want to deny it. You know there was something greater than you. We all can admit that. Yeah, you don't have to admit it publicly, but we all can admit that. So Romans 2:11, for there is no respect of persons with God. I'm going to read verse 12. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. And many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just by God, but the doers of the laws shall be justified. For the doers of the law, that's interesting, shall be justified. The doers of the laws. And we all know what the great command is, to love thy neighbors as thyself, right? We know what that great command is. So you might say, well, Michael, what are you trying to point out? So I pointed out some words, respect, and I used the word disingenuous. And there's not a lot of people on right now, and I know in the radio you can't see this, but I just wanted to show you some different things, because normally on Thursday I wear a tie. But I thought not to wear a tie today, because I wanted to give an illustration, and I wanted to make a point, because I need for us to respect one another as men. Respect one another as men. We're not beasts. I showed you in the Bible that we're not beasts. Beasts were made before man was made. We're not beasts, we're men. And we're a men made in his image, in his likeness. And God says those that are justified are those that keep his laws and his commandments. Those that keep his laws and his commandments, those are the ones that are justified. And if we don't have any respect for one another, there's going to be an issue. Now, I brought out the word disingenuous, and I just want to bring a few things with these scriptures, and then I'm going to roll for the next couple of minutes I got. So let's go to Genesis 37, verse 3. And there's a reason why I'm giving you the scriptures in the order that I'm giving it to you, because I need for you to understand where my heart is today, so that you can understand that it matters. It matters. So listen to this. Genesis 37, verse number 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. He made him a coat of many colors. And in the story of Joseph, there was some bickering inside the family. And when the brothers wanted to prove to Israel, the father, that Joseph was gone, they brought back Joseph's coat of many colors. Because the colors represented honor. The color represented favor. The colors represented something. The colors were showing that his father favored him. I'm going to make it make sense. So first, I showed you that man is not beast, because God clearly says in his word that he made beasts after their kind. And then in the next verse, he tells you that he made man after his kind, and together he made them, male and female, in the image and likeness of God. We went through those verses. And we went through the verse in Romans 2:11, where God said that there is no respecter of persons. And if you read a little further down, he reminds you that knowing the law and keeping the law, those are two different things. What makes you righteous is those that actually keep the law. Now, we may say that God has come and he's risen and we're not under the law, but he did tell you what the new covenant law was: to love God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like the first: to love thy neighbor as thyself. In Genesis chapter 37, we see that the favor of God was placed upon Joseph. And Joseph was given a coat of many colors. Remember the two words that I gave you at the beginning of this broadcast. They were respect and disingenuous. And I'm going to take you to the final scripture that I'm going to go to today, and then I'm going to just talk from the heart to you. But I wanted to point this out. Matthew 15 and 27. Let's go there. Matthew chapter 15, verse 27. I might start a little bit earlier, but I wanted to go there. And after I go here, I'm going to just talk from the heart. Verse 27. And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from the master's table. Now remember, I told you that God made beasts. In Genesis 1:25, Genesis 1:26, he makes man. But many times in the word, he describes the other nations that he wasn't originally called to as beasts. So that's why in verse number 27, and she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master table. Now I'm going to read the previous verses, but the reason why I read that verse first, because I want you to understand that when she said even the dogs, she was making an illustration. She was saying that even the people that are made less than man get to eat at the master's table. So let's just go to a couple verses before. If we go to Matthew 15, and we're going to go to verse 21. Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and of Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, I read to you in Romans that God doesn't have a respecter of persons, right? But in this verse, he says that I'm not sent unto the lost. I'm not sent, but only to the lost sheep of Israel. So you would think that God was having a respecter of person. It wasn't that God was having a respecter of person. God had a duty and obligation to fulfill to the house that he was called to. But keep listening and keep following along. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to the dog. So he knows that she's not a dog, but he's using this comparison. And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from the master's table. Verse 28. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee, even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. The significance of the verse is that this woman was in need. Jesus, physical Jesus, priorities was not to meet the need of the woman at that time. But even he said, my people don't mix with your people. But he was moved with compassion because of this woman's faith that the healing took place. Because of the woman's faith that the healing took place. Mind you, this woman was not quiet. She was not quiet. This woman cried out with a loud voice. She cried out with a loud voice. She wasn't silent. She wasn't inside of her house. She was outside of her dwelling, and she went to where they were. She went to the place that they were. Got to the place that they were and cried out, said, help me. And even when she cried out help, the people that was with the master wanted to put her away, wanted to silence her because they didn't agree with her crying out to the master. And even when the master spoke, he said, I'm not called to you. But she didn't stop there. Imagine if she stopped there. Imagine if she stopped there. Would her daughter ever have received the healing that was needed? Imagine if she stopped there. Now, why was she in such a pressing manner? She was in such a pressing manner because her daughter was being vexed with the devil. This demonic force that has been unleashed on God's people is a demonic force. It is a spiritual attack. And you can't expect me, if I'm being attacked and I know where the master is, just to be silent and not to speak out, because I know that this is not natural, but this is demonic, systematic oppression. So you may say that, be silent. And we may be met with people that don't like others voicing their opinions, because you may say that we're not called to you. But in the word, even when the people thought God wasn't called to her, or Jesus wasn't called to her, she used her faith and she cried out. Verbally, she cried out because they could hear her. And after crying out, God was moved with compassion. Now I'm going to put this book away, and now we're going to talk. And KOPW, see, listeners, you're not going to be able to see this illustration. But remember, I told you about respect. And normally I wear a tie on this broadcast, but I just felt moved to do this. Now, no one's typing in, so I don't know if you see me or not. But I got a tie on right now. You see the color of this tie? The color of this tie is black. The color of this tie is black, right? It's black. You see it. I'm going to grab another tie. The color of this tie is white. Now, because I have on a black background, you can't necessarily see the black tie. It's not as distinguishable. But this is a black tie on a black shirt, and it just blends in. That's one color. Here's another color. It's a white tie. And if someone was typing in, they could see that I have on a white tie. And they could see that this white tie and this black tie are clearly different colors. Then I got another tie that I wanted to put on for you today. It's a blue tie. And right now, remember the first word I gave you was respect. See, right now we're in a situation where people want to say, I see black, I stand for white, or I stand for blue. There's three colors right now fighting in the land. Not recognize that all three colors come from the same person. All three colors are made in the image and the likeness of God. All three colors. All three colors are made in the image and the likeness of God. But somehow through the separation, through sin, we think that this color trumps this color trumps this color. All three of these are ties. And at any given moment, I can put on any tie that I want because I respect all the ties. That's why I bought all the ties. Now, sometimes I wear this tie based on what I want, attributes that I want to respect and call out. Because a few weeks ago, I wore this tie with a white and blue shirt because I wanted to pull out the blue. I showed the blue respect. I wanted blue to be accentuated, so I needed people to understand that I wanted you to see the baby blue. And then some weeks I wear this tie because I have a blue and white shirt and I want the white pinstripes to be seen. So I wear this color tie to accentuate or to respect, to call out the white. Then other weeks I wear a black tie, depending on what other things that I want to call out. But as you can see that all these ties fit around my neck. All these ties, if I use the function of the tie, I pull it together and it can go up tight and it can be loosened because it is a necktie. It may be different colors, but it's still a tie. Now, why did I bring out the word disingenuous? What is so disingenuous to me? To me. I'm not saying to you. To me, it's disingenuous when someone says they don't see color. It's disingenuous. Your heart may be in the right place, but my job is to let you know where my heart is. Because clearly, if you're looking at me, you see that this is a black tie. Clearly, if you're able to visually see me, you see that this is a white tie. Clearly, if you see me, you see that this is a blue tie. Clearly, if we go to the Bible in Genesis chapter 37, verse 3, Joseph was given a coat of many colors. The many colors represented the favor that was on Joseph's life. When Joseph was kidnapped by his brothers and sold, the thing that they took was the coat of many colors. So if they saw colors in Genesis, you see color now. Do you see how that's disingenuous to keep saying that I don't see color? Because you do see color. What I need for clarification is that you don't treat me differently because of my color. But you must acknowledge that we have different colors. See, I have on a different necktie. I got a blue necktie, and I got on a white necktie, and I have on a black necktie, but they're all neckties because they're all made in the image and likeness of ties. These are all made in the image of likeness of ties. They get tied the same. They get warded the same. They get cleaned the same. They're all ties. They're all made in the image and likeness of ties. Yes, there are different colors. And only a fool would say that I don't see that they're different colors. Only a fool would say that this is the same color as this. And this is the same color as this. But disingenuous people will say, I don't see color. But clearly in the word of God, there was color. Because Israel gave his son a coat of many colors. So miss me when I don't see color. What I need you to do is have a Romans 2:11 moment. For there is no respecter of persons. I need you to respect me because I'm made in the image and likeness of God, like you are made in the image and likeness of God. Yes, we're all made in the image and likeness of God. So I'm asking for you to find it in the kindness of your heart. Please don't be disingenuous and tell me that you don't see color. Because behind this color right here, are fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, daughters, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews behind this color. Behind this color right here, there's fathers, brothers, sisters, mothers, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews behind this color. Behind this color, there are aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, brothers, fathers, sisters, daughters, mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers behind this color. because we are all made in the image and likeness of God. But some of us want to be a little bit disingenuous and try to make me think that I'm a beast. But I read in verse 25. So even when the disciples referred to the woman as a beast, Jesus was moved with compassion and healed the lady's son in Matthew's. And the reason why the lady has such a press, the reason why she has such a press, that she ignored the instructions of the people, was because her daughter was dying. Her daughter was dying, and because her daughter was dying, because her child was dying, because her child was dying, she said, I don't care what the disciples say. I'm calling out for help. I don't care what my friends think. I'm calling out for help. I don't care if you tell me to be quiet. Hallelujah. I'm calling out for help. And when we call out for help, God hears his children. God hears his children. I'm not advocating destruction of anybody's property. I don't advocate that. I don't advocate stealing anybody's belongings. And the reason why I would never take someone's belongings, because it's not in my heart to steal. It's not in my heart to break in somebody's building. That's not in my heart. Even when pressure hits me, even when anger arises, that's not in my heart. And I'm not here to judge somebody's heart. But what I want you to understand, the word respect and the word disingenuous. Is disingenuous to act like you don't see it. It's disingenuous for you to say that the value of this is more valuable than this. That's disingenuous. That's disingenuous. Now, the way this country was built, this was taught to be devalued. Yeah, the way the country was built, this was devalued. It wasn't that it wasn't valuable. It's just that it was taught to be devalued to each other. Yeah. This right here, for many years, we were taught to devalue each other because we were the most valuable asset that this color right here had. Yeah, remember, this color was doing the building while this color was sipping tea. Yeah, remember that. This color was making inventions while this color took credit. Yeah. And when this color got free, this color created this to monitor this color. You following me? I'm sorry, radio audience, that you can't see what I got going on, but just think about it. This color was out working. This color was out slaving. This color was being shipped across seas. This color was being whooped. This color was being raped by this color. This color taught their children that this color was less valuable. And after this color started revolting, this color began to fight with each other, trying to figure out what to do with this color. And when this color tie got free, this color tie made this color. You feel me? This color was made. And this color was made to protect this color's property. And this color made this color property. That's no respect. That's no respect. Because this color decided that this tie would be property. You can clearly see that they're both ties. You can clearly see that these things are both ties. But somehow, this tie decided, because of the color of this tie, that this tie was less valuable. And when this tie got tired of being disrespected, it pushed this tie to make laws But this tie still wanted to let this tie color know that I'm still over you. And because I'm still over you, and you're mad that I'm over you, I'm going to create a system to put over all of us. And somehow this color system, it don't matter if your color and you join this system, don't matter. Don't matter if your color and join this system. Because once you join this system, there's only one color. This system values this system over this color and over this color. See, I'm not disingenuous. I recognize that people of this color die by the system of this color. I recognize that. However, I recognize that this color system acts more favorably to this color. Just recognize it. I recognize that this color system destroys the lives of people of this color system. I recognize that, but guess what? How can this color people and this color people join this color people? It's because they're all people. See, I can wear these ties today because they're all ties. They're all ties. They all go around my neck the same. They get tied the same. They get cleaned the same. They are all ties. The purpose of these things is that these are all ties. And the reason why I have all of these ties in my closet is because I don't have a respecter of ties. I like ties of many colors. And it's because I see color, I purchase ties that have different color. But when we live in a world that says, I don't see color, I'm letting you know that you're being disingenuous. Because clearly, if you're able to view me on this live, you can see that this is of a different color. But if you are honest with yourself, you would admit that this is a tie, that this is a tie, and that this is a tie. If you would be honest. If color wasn't seen in the Bible, why did Israel's children take the coat of many colors from Joseph? Riddle me that, Batman. Riddle me that. Answer that for me. It's because you see color. Why is it that bees are attracted to certain fruit? Because of the color. Why is it certain frogs and snakes have different colors? So that they can identify which snake is poisonous or venomous. Why is the grass green? And if your grass is brown, you would identify that grass as being unhealthy. If your grass is brown, you're going to identify the grass as being unhealthy. You're going to identify the grass as not having enough nutrients in the soil or enough water to make the grass green. So for you to say out of your mouth that I don't see color, I'm just letting you know that you're being disingenuous. Disingenuous. You're not being honest with yourself. Because you see color. Remember, this is a blue tie, white tie, and a black tie. And if you are living in these United States, if you can't admit that this color tie has been disenfranchised by this color tie, and this color tie put in a system for this color tie to monitor this color tie. They all ties. Blessings, Apostle Pender. They all ties. They are all ties. But miss me when you keep trying to tell me that you don't see that these are different colors. These are different colors, but remember Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. We are made in the image and likeness of God. We are made. Who is we? Mankind. Mankind is made in the image and likeness of God. Genesis 1, verse 25, God made beasts. And they produce after their own kind. So man is not lying with beasts, reproducing man. No, sir. No, man. Man is not lying with beasts and producing man. No, sir. But a man and a woman can create life regardless of the many colors or hues that humanity shows up in. And the reason why humanity can go on is because regardless of the hue, you're still humankind, humus, man. But don't lie to me and say that you don't see that this is blue. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me and say that you don't see this is white. Don't lie to me and say that you don't see that this is black. Do you clearly see that this is black if you have eyes and truths to see? Now, if you want to be ignorant, if you want to be disingenuous, you can fix your mouth and say, "Nah, Michael, this tie is not black." If you want to be disingenuous, you can fix your mouth and say, "Michael, this tie is not black." But if you want to be truthful, you will say, "This tie is black." If you want to be honest, you will say that this tie is white. And if you want to be more honest, you will say that this tie is blue. Isn't it amazing how God works? You see these colors. When this color tie was made free, this color tie said, I need to form a structure that will protect my property. And at that time, if you haven't figured out, this color tie was the property of this color tie. This color tie was the property of this color tie. This color tie made a group and said, I'm going to put you over all of us, and you are to protect my property. See, you can keep your statutes. It doesn't change your heart. What we see going on right now is that people's heart are corrupt. You can say all you want with your mouth, but your actions reveal your heart. Your actions reveal your heart. I've come to the conclusion, I just want enforcement. Enforcement. Some people say we need to write new laws. We just need to enforce the laws that are on the book. And the law came to give people the conscience of sin. That's why the law was written by Jesus. To give people a conscience of the sin, to let them know that they were committing a crime. To let them know that they were not obeying the voice of Yah. That's why the laws were given. So actually, if we just enforce the laws that were on the books to all ties, enforce the laws that are on the books for all ties. So if you're this color tie, the law applies to you. If you're this color tie, the law should apply to you. If you're this color tie, the law applies to you. See, if we actually enforced all the laws to all the ties, there wouldn't be people out in the street today. If we enforced the same laws to all the ties, the people wouldn't be in the street today. But it's because we made a system that we don't enforce the law the same way for this color tie. We don't enforce the law the same way for this tie. And we don't enforce the law together for the same way for this tie. Because truly, if two of these ties are together, they get hung up nice, they get pressed clean, they go to the dry cleaner, they get treated very nicely. And if this tie and this tie get together, you might get taken out to Burger King. Yeah, after committing a crime. You may be able to storm the Capitol doors and live to talk about it. Because when this tie and this tie get together, this tie might not get dry clean, but this tie do get treated a little bit different when it's together with this tie. And for some reason, this tie and this tie said, you better not treat this tie the same way as you treat me. You don't have to like it, but it's right. So why do I go to church? To respect all. I need to respect all my ties because they're all neckties. They all go around my neck. They all make me look better when I respect them. They all accentuate the beauty of who I am. The beauty of who I am. And if we can't see the beauty in humanity, then there is a problem. If you can't see the beauty in humanity, then there is a problem. Because life is too valuable to waste it. Life is too valuable to waste it. See, this life is the only time we have just to understand how good God is. The time between your dash is the only time that we have to comprehend the greatness of who God is. So life is too valuable to be wasted. Now, this is what I want to submit to you today. I'm a human, but I see color. Because of Genesis, if the 12 tribes that will later become the 12 tribes, if they saw color, and they took the color off of the man by stripping his coat. But I want to let you know that there is a fourth color that America needs to see. A fourth color. You want to know what that color is? Red. The focus of the colors that I need you to see. Hallelujah. Is this. Red. I want you to understand that red trumps blue. This red trumps this white. And this red is going to protect this color. And let me explain something to you. This color right here is so wonderful. It's so beautiful. Because if you study color for real, this color only can be made if you have all the colors. That's how beautiful it is. This color is all the colors. If you had this color, you could extract out of this color all of these colors. Did you hear what I said? You can fact check me. If you have this color, you can create all of these colors from this color. It is the perception of value. But this color is so valuable because it's able to produce all of these colors. So in nature, this color is valuable. But in spirit, this color trumps all. This color trumps all. And because I am a kingdom man, I will abide by the principles of the kingdom. He told me not to have a respecter of persons. And he said, that what I did to the least of these, I've done to him. And see, even God saw this color. Yeah, God saw this color. Just go to Genesis. Where did I put? Exodus 12, chapter 3. And we're going to close with this. We're going to close with this. Exodus 12, chapter 3. And I hope you all can understand the point that I'm trying to make for you with these neckties. I hope you can understand Exodus 12, chapter 3. Exodus chapter 12, verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the house where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. When I do what? I'm going to slow down for those that didn't hear me. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, when I see the blood, If God didn't see color, how did he see the blood? And if you're a man or woman that believes in the kingdom, I need to check the ordering of your neckties. In Matthew, when the woman came to him, all these colors, said, don't help, don't help. But then God, the blood kicked in. What can wash away our sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. But as a person, as a human, as I showed you in Genesis, I'm not a dog. I'm not a dog. I'm not a beast. You're not a beast. You're not. And all these ties are different colors. If you can be honest with yourself, you see color. If you can be honest with yourself. I don't know if you could be honest with yourself and honestly tell me that you see 4 different ties up here. Can you be honest with yourself? Or are you just disingenuous? Well, we must understand that wrong is wrong and right is right. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. Romans 2:11. He doesn't have respect of persons. But he says that knowing the law don't make you righteous, but fulfilling the law. What was his law? To love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as thyself. So the question I have is, do you really love your neighbor as yourself? Because this lady cried out because her daughter was vexed with the devil. Her daughter was under demonic influence. And I'm crying out because my brothers and sisters are being oppressed by a demonic force. I'm doing no different than the lady did in Matthew 15 and verse 27. I'm doing no different. Remember, I told you that the word often referred to the people as dogs, but God knew they weren't dogs. But he was making a separation. But even he was moved with compassion and healed them. Would her daughter ever been cleansed from that demonic influence? if she didn't cry out? Will our land ever be cleansed of this influence if the people don't cry out? If the people don't say, we must defend life at all costs. I heard a proverb today. When a pipe is burst, you can't tell the water where to go. We see a bursted pipe today. A bursted pipe. Because when water's inside of a pipe, you can kind of direct it. You can direct it. You can lead it. You can guide it. You can make good use of it. But when a pipe is bursted, the water just sprays everywhere. It goes everywhere. So I want to let you know that a pipe has been bursted. Your pipe has been bursted. But God's still God. He's still sitting on the throne. He's still in control. We just need somebody to stand up. We just need somebody to do the right thing. We need somebody to say, these are all neckties. And I choose to value each one of my neckties. I value each one of these neckties. I don't hang this necktie in a different spot of my closet. I don't put this necktie in a different spot of my closet. I don't put this necktie in a different spot of my closet. I put all of my neckties in the same place in my closet because I respect all the neckties the same. But please don't be disingenuous. If you didn't know that you were being disingenuous, it's okay. That's why God sent me here to speak to you today. God saw color. That's why he had Israel made his son a coat of many colors. That's why the priests of God had different emeralds and colors inside of their vest. That's why God passed over, because he saw color. So the question isn't, do I see color? The question is, do I respect you, even though we are of different colors? And we as the body, if we can't understand that we all should stand together, together, then we have a problem. We keep trying to keep this system going where this trumps this, and this trumps this. But as a believer, God trumps all. God trumps all as a believer. God should trump all. That's what I need you to understand. That if we're going to get through this, if we're going to rebuild this nation, we must learn to respect all. And part of the reasons why I go to church is to see like God sees. KLPWC Kingdom Radio audience, you've been a beautiful audience today. I thank you for staying with me. I know you didn't have the ability to see the illustration, but I hope that you could understand the point that I was trying to make. But this is Michael Gibson, and it's Why I Go to Church, KLPWC Kingdom audience. Be blessed. Thank you for your time. Now, Facebook land, I need you to understand, hey, Cousin Marky, that this is a tie. I need you to understand that this is a tie. I need you to understand that this is a tie. I need you to understand that this is a tie. They may have different colors, but they're all ties. A demonic force tried to make you think that this tie was better than this tie. And the foundation that was laid in this country, yeah, because even your presidents treated this tie as property. And if we can't acknowledge that this tie thought it was better than this tie, you're being disingenuous. And if you can't acknowledge that after this tie cried out, that this tie created this tie to protect his property, you're being disingenuous. I'm just asking for you to have a heart moment. I'm just asking for you to be real. Be real with yourself. Don't tell me you don't see color, because you do. What we have to learn to do is respect people, regardless of the color they come into. Because I told you earlier, this color, if you have this color, you can create all these colors. This color can't make this color, but this color can produce this color. I'm just going science here. These are all ties. I ain't trying to be offensive. But what this color has done is taught for many, 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 many years that this tie is not a tie. This color has taught for many, many, many years the world that this is not a tie. I'm here to let you know that this is a tie, this is a tie, this is a tie, and as a kingdom citizen, this is a tie. These are all ties. And I value every last one of them. That's why I purchased them. And I'm looking for all of us to value all of these ties the same way that I value my ties, because they're ties. I'm looking for all of us to value all of us the same, because we all came out of the loins of Adam. And Adam came from the word spoken by Almighty God. But that's why I go to church, so that I can learn that. Verse 15, chapter 15, verse 27, Matthew. The woman cried out because she was in need. The woman cried out because she was in need. People are crying out because they're in need. So, in closing, let's just respect humanity, because God made them male and female. He made humanity. In Genesis 1:25, he made beasts, but in 1:26, he made humanity. So I need for us to value humanity. That's all I'm asking. It's to value humanity. But this is Michael Gibson, and that's why I go to church. Have a blessed day, and I thank you for your time.